We are live, Bobby. Welcome, everybody. College football talk with Pete and Bobby. You can catch us here every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Normally, we're not competing with a football game. There's a football game on the night, Bobby. Do you know that?
No. Who?
Yeah, it's Buffalo and Tennessee. I guess they got rescheduled because of coronavirus or something.
Buffalo and Tennessee.
I haven't watched the game. I've been watching a show with Mrs. Peete on Netflix for the past hours.
What are you watching? What are you watching? Mrs. Peete.
It's called, I think it's called The Crown, about Queen Elizabeth. Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like 4 seasons out. We're like halfway through season 2. I think it's actually pretty good.
Yeah. I've watched that with my wife.
Yeah.
I take my shirt off and just sit there, and she just revels at my glory, and then she watches The Crown.
Yeah, we can't compete with the guys in The Crown.
No.
What's up? Clemson Carson's in the house. Nate the Great, don't be late, aka Nate Kingston. And he says, I'm not late. He's not late. Luke Walker, vamos bravos, he says. George is in the house. Oh my God, Buffalo and Tennessee are playing. I got to go. Not. Yeah, well. Razorback fan number 1. Pigskin Pete is too much of an ACC homer. Well, I guess the AP poll and the coaches poll are ACC homers too.
Congratulations. You tried and you failed miserably.
Yep.
The forecast for today is partly stupid with 100% chance of dumbass.
And I happen to know that he is. What's up, the real Big Lee?
Look at that. Look down there at that picture. Who were they in the picture with? Who were they posing with? The real Big Lee.
Oh, real big Lee. Let me get a better look at this here.
Real Big Lee. Who are you in the photo with, dude?
Oh, this looks like some of his friends or something.
I didn't know if it was,
Yeah.
I
I don't know.
Brandon Boykin. Okay, I'll take that. Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
Oh, Brandon Boykin. Okay. So, where'd you watch the game this past weekend?
In the comfort of my home.
Okay.
It was a wonderful time. Now I know you were down there in the sopping wet rain watching the game.
Yeah.
And I thought about you throughout.
It really wasn't as bad as it looked on TV, I don't think. Well, during the game. After the game, or towards like the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game, it really started pouring. And we had to walk, I don't know, 2 miles or something from the stadium to our hotel in the pouring rain. But we tried to call an Uber, and it was like a 20-minute wait, so we're like, we'll just walk.
Yeah.
But during the game, it wasn't bad. It didn't really start raining, steadily until maybe halftime or the beginning of the third quarter, something like that.
Yeah.
It really wasn't that bad. It was windy, that's for sure. Especially where we were. We were up at the up at the top. But it was fun. We had fun, and had a lot of people commenting to me about how many people were there. It looked like more than 20,000 or whatever they allowed in there, 19,000. And when I got home, I rewatched the game on TV. And it does look like on TV more people are there than when you're there, because I can tell you they had the seats so far spaced out. Basically what it is they give you those little chair backs for every seat now. When you go to a regular game, you're just sitting on the bench seats.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nobody sitting on benches. So anywhere you see those orange seats, that's a seat that's paid for, and they only have 19,000 of them or something like that. But in every direction, I'm within at least 12 to 15 feet of anybody. And that's the same for everybody in that stadium. Now they have clusters of like 2 seats together. And I guess if you can get up to 4 seats together, but no more than that. So I guess TV is just deceiving, because there definitely wasn't more than 20,000 people there. I can attest to that. But it was all the seats were filled up that were sold. All those seat backs were filled, with the exception of maybe a couple in the, at the very, very top. But it was pretty loud for 20,000 people, but nothing like come on. It wasn't anywhere close to a normal top 10, matchup in Death Valley at night. It wasn't even close.
That place would have been packed out for the Miami game, for all the trash, for all the talk that went on, for game day being there, that would have been crazy. But I did want to ask you, with the limited, and please qualify this statement. You're a smart guy. I could ask this to you, and you would, according to your wife, maybe yes. But we're both we're both married men, so we're on a level field. Considering that you only had 25% capacity, how was the energy in the stadium?
The energy felt good. Again, you can't compensate with missing over 60,000 fans.
Sure.
The energy was good, though. You know what the weirdest thing was? The weirdest thing wasn't actually being in the stadium. It was being on campus with no tailgating. You know what it's like. When you ride into town on game day, it's just, as far as the eye can see in every direction, it's cars and tents and tailgating, and you just ride through. There's none of that. I mean, there's cars parked, but nobody's tailgating. We went to TD's right there downtown Clemson.
Oh yeah.
And normally, if you go in there 2 hours, 3 hours before the game, you're not getting a seat. It's
no
bar. We walked in, got a seat right at the bar. Now it ended up filling up after we were there, but I mean, normally you can't just walk in there and get a seat like we did.
Yeah,
so
TD.
It's weird. It was weird.
How did the SO Club look?
We didn't even go there. So we tried to go to the SO Club after the game was over, but they already had closed. Everything in Clemson was closing down at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock. So we walked down to the SO after we were going to have one more drink and wait on the Uber or whatever. And they were closed. So
man, that's crazy. Well, hey, the whole reason that you went was fulfilled. And was it that, I don't know if you know this. I know Richard Williams. Go ahead and do that because that's a big deal. Richard supporting the channel. Go ahead.
Yeah. Who won the Clemson-Miami game? Was that a game or just a contest? Well, it was neither. It wasn't a game or a contest. It was over before it started. I mean, it just is what it is. I could tell within 5 minutes that there wasn't going to be a contest.
Well, Richard, thanks for supporting the show, man. We do appreciate you showing up. I don't know.
This is Pete's dad. You know that, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, I do. He's a bigger fan of me than he is than you, right?
Well, everybody is.
I mean, well, hold on. Let's even qualify that. Not me.
Bobby Durkins, yeah.
Bobby Durkins. I mean, my God. Richard is. Thanks, man. I trust me. I need the pump in confidence. You know, I'm almost 40. My kids beat me. The dog rules the house. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks, Richard.
What's up, Clemson girl? Tiger Nation, brother for life. How you doing? Kenneth C says Miami wanted this game badly. Well, yeah, they didn't want it badly enough. And again, I'm not even going to come on here and trash Miami. Who was I telling the other day? Maybe it was Mark Rogers yesterday. That I really go hard in on when we play against an Ohio State or we play against an Alabama or somebody like that, and when we beat them, because I feel like that they're on the same level as Clemson. It's not like, and not that Miami's Georgia Tech bad or Florida State bad or anything. They're not even bad. They're good, but I feel weird trashing Miami after beating them like that, because it's like, what's the point?
I think for me, with Miami, it's like I don't know about you, but last week there was so many requests to come on Miami channels. And, they got a great following. You and I've got a great Miami following. It's great trash talk time. Some guys are just absolutely stupid. There's a lot of guys who are just fantastic. They just love their team, But they really wanted that game because to them, they felt like if they could beat Clemson, it would make the statement that the U is back. And for me, and I told a bunch of Miami fans, who wasn't delusional. I said, this game is not about beating Clemson to me. To me, it's easy for me to say with the Clemson flag behind me, that this game to me is about you playing competitive with Clemson, and then after that, the wheel's not coming off. And you go and you win the games you're supposed to win and keep going and growing as a team. That's what this team is about. If that's what this game is about, really, for you. But of course, if Miami falls apart, it's no big deal to me. But I guess what I'm trying to say here is for the good Miami fans, I just think the next progression for Miami is, does the wheels come off after this? Now, you've said you don't think it does.
No, I think they're going to continue to get better. The problem with Miami is not talent, is not coaching at this point. Well, they don't have the continuity in coaching. I mean, they're constantly recycling coaches and even coordinators at this point. But it's that they're one dimensional.
Yeah,
there might be 3 teams in the country that can hold Clemson to under 30 points, so that's not a knock on Miami's defense. I think their defensive line actually played pretty good for the most part.
Yeah.
But it's like I said before the game, Clemson can beat you so many ways. If you sell out to stop the run against ETN, then Trevor Lawrence is going to eat you alive in the passing game, and vice versa. So, I mean, there just wasn't a whole lot they could do. The problem is on offense for Miami is Derek King's a very good player. That tight end they have, Jordan's a very good player. And Harris, he's obviously a good player. But Brent Venables showed the way to beat Miami. If you have a solid defensive line and a solid pass rush, just rush 7 and make Derek King throw the ball. And they haven't proven they can beat anybody throwing the football. In fact, every game that they won this year, even against bad teams, they had record rushing days. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a mismatch. Miami is not a knock on them. They're not ready for a Clemson or somebody on that level yet. They're just not. Everybody saw that.
They bracketed Derek King. And I was on a show last week. And I was asked, why are you so confident? And take all trash talk away. Why are you so confident Clemson's going to win this ball game? And I said this, and you go back and look at it. I said, Brent Venables and the defensive line that he has. And what did he do? Go back and watch the highlights of the game. Go back and watch the condensed version of that game. He bracketed Derek King. We saw Derek King get out in space one time. He made us pay dearly. The guy's a talented guy. But what I'm saying is, Venables knew he knew that the entire time. He was like, I got to keep him bracket. I got to keep him in a bracket. And if I can keep him in there, he's going to have a very, very difficult time. Brevin Jordan, I've said this to Miami fans. Even a few Miami fans came back and said, well, hey, it's kind of like you said last week. No matter how kind you've been to, some of you would just be a jerk still. To me, my favorite player on the team is Brevin Jordan. Brevin Jordan is a ridiculous tight end. Bar injury, bar him getting in trouble and doing something stupid, this guy's going to have a long career in the NFL. That Phillips kid, now, though he kept bleeding the entire time, I don't know if Miami doesn't believe in protecting people from bloodborne pathogens and all that bunch of crap. That Phillips kid, really incredible player. Roche, very good player. Miami is putting the pieces together. The question is, will they continue to do it? So Slim Shady Kane's our buddy. He's in here.
He says if it wasn't for the stupid penalties, Miami would have had a few more 3-and-outs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nobody's ignoring you, Razorback fan number 1. I mean, nobody has to respond to you because you make yourself look so stupid that nobody else has to intervene with doing that. But continue on, and thanks for watching. So, look, this weekend, we've got, well, first of all, let's start with Miami this weekend. I mean, about talking about this. So they play Pitt. Pitt's 2-2. They've dropped the last 2. But what we were just talking before the show started, Pitt's got problems offensively. So I still think Miami will probably win the game because they're more back. I mean, they're just more well-rounded. They have a decent defense and a decent offense. Pitt's got a really good defense, but offensively they're pretty inept. The problem for Miami in this game is Brent Venables and Clemson just gave them the blueprint on how to beat them. Now, easier said than done. You just mentioned who's the leader in the ACC in sacks this year?
I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but he is from Pitt with 7.5 sacks. So the issue with Clemson was bracket Derek King. Well, Pitt they're not as good as Clemson, but they have enough personnel to create a problem for De'Aaron King and bracket him in and make him beat them with his arm. That's a key.
Do you mind if we bring in Slim Shady? He's asking to come in.
Of course, bring him in. Bring him in. I want to hear his take on the game. It's always funny.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to post a link to the StreamYard in the chat. I'm asking for nobody else other than Slim Shady to come in. I don't want this to turn into 18 people talking over each other on StreamYard.
My grandma would like to come on if possible.
1 second here. All right, so there's the link for Slim Shady. Did it even go through? I don't see it. Does anybody see it in the chat? There it is. Yeah, I see it now. All right, there it is. Yeah, so this is the key. Miami's going to have to sell out and make Derek King throw the ball. We'll see if they can do that. I believe this game is in Miami. Hold on.
Hey, while Slim Shady Canes is coming on, I can give you the name for Pittsburgh. The leading the sack leader in the ACC is Patrick Jones II with 7 sacks. The third leader in sacks in ACC is also from Pitt, Rashad Weaver, and the tied for third leader for interceptions is Paris Ford from Pitt.
I do think Miami will win this game, but Slim Shady,
yeah,
buddy.
Gentlemen, how are y'all?
Thank you, E. Craven. Brent Venables is the best DC in college football. I don't even. Is that really debatable at this point?
Yeah.
I mean, there's some very good head coaches that are defensive minded. Nick Saban, Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart, but they're not coordinators; they're head coaches. So I would agree.
Slim Shady, how are you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling great. I'm kicked back on St. Augustine Beach. It couldn't be much better.
Oh, are you on vacation?
Yeah.
Oh, you call in, you're on the road. Now, what do you just say? Where are you at? Are you sitting by a pool somewhere? You're on the beach? You're in a hotel? Where are you at?
I'm on the balcony at the moment. We got a condo for the week.
Oh, I love that.
How long are you there for?
Till Saturday.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, it just worked out. And we booked this before they rescheduled everything. Otherwise, I may have come to the Clemson game. But, I guess you could say it worked out in my favor. I get to wash all my tears away on the beach this week.
I mean, at least on the balcony, you can sit out there, smoke a cigar, drink your bourbon, and break wind, and nobody will bother you.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
That's someplace I've never been there before. St. Augustine. I've been to a bunch of places. Oh no, I take that back. I had been to St. Augustine one time. What was it? Maybe 5 years ago, but it was for a funeral. My uncle lived there, and he died. We went down there for a funeral. I was there for like 1 day, but I never been.
Yeah, my wife had never come down to Florida except for when we've come down here on vacation. And I didn't want to keep going to the same place. We had gone to Clearwater, which is where I'm from. And I was like, let's try something else. And there's all kinds of stuff here, the Ripley's Believe It or Not Museum and all that kind of stuff. So
Luke Walker wants to know who goes to the beach in October. Well, in Florida, October is still weather.
I'm about to say it was 87 degrees here today.
I'm gonna say, even here in Charleston, there's still people at the beach. I mean, it was 85 today. So yeah.
And it's fall break. My daughter's out of school.
Oh, congrats, man.
Yeah. What's up, Ballard? How you doing? Barrick's in the house. John Serrain, Danny D-Rock Mahaffey. Yeah. But
what I meant by that comment earlier about stupid penalties and would have had a few more 3-and-outs, you just had stupid procedural penalties where the defense had a real shot of getting Clemson's offense off the field on third down. And some of them, I'm not blaming the refs, not at all, but I think some of them, they're being a little nitpicky.
How about
for instance, when on the third, it was a 3rd and long. It was like a 3rd and 12. And Quincy Roche had his toe over the line.
He lined up offside. I mean, come on, it is what it was.
But it was literally just his forward foot and literally his big toe that was over the line.
It was his whole foot.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it is what it is. It ended up he ended up being the one that made the play too.
Yeah. But that's what I meant by they had chances of getting Clemson's offense off the field on third down.
Yeah. Well, you know what that is? That's coaching, though. I mean, little mistakes like that. I mean, everyone's going to have penalties here and there. I mean, you could say things about, they blocked 3 field goals in that game.
They did.
And one of the touchdowns was off of a blocked field goal, so it wasn't even an offensive touchdown. So you can talk about penalties for Miami and whatever, targeting calls, which by the letter of the law, they were targeting. But you can also talk, Clemson made a bunch of mistakes too, so it could have actually been worse than it was. And
like I say, it could have been a little better too. I think the defense played really, really well. And I said leading up to that game, they had to play mistake-free football. And if the defense had played mistake-free football, they wouldn't have scored 40 points.
There was also an overreaction to the Virginia game when Clemson had some of their key starters out on defense. And when you saw the difference they made, especially Tyler Davis in the middle of their defensive line. I mean, he shot Harris. I mean, I know Harris had a touchdown, but he had 9 carries for 9 yards, I think, or 9 touches for 9 yards.
But you know what? That's textbook media, whether it's in the Clemson area, whether that is national media. You have a big game like that coming up. You and I both know, Pete, that the week of the Virginia game, Dabo was fielding questions about Miami. Yeah. The players were fielding questions about Miami. And he's like, hey, we have Virginia this week. I said leading into the game that Clemson, this would be a good game for Clemson to really focus on the things they need to work on. I went through a list of things they needed to work on. And then they come out of the game. They win by 18 points. And everybody is wetting their britches thinking, oh, my God, Vegas had them a 28-point favorite. This totally shows that Clemson is falling apart, no matter who's coaching them, no matter who's playing for them. And you go into the Miami game, and I'm sitting there going, are we really going to sit and let the media tell us how good Clemson is? I mean, I'm not denying that Clemson doesn't have things to work on. I mean, my goodness, I was the one who said this. For me personally on my channel and even on our channel, on our show, I mentioned the stuff that they needed to work on. This was nothing that just came out of the blue. And then suddenly, Clemson's slipping. And then they come in, they do what they do. Dabo Swinney, I know he lost the national championship with LSU, and that's all that a lot of people want to really talk about right now. But before that loss, count how many losses he has. Why? In the big games, Swinney and his staff and his players respond. They respond, and they beat the who's who. I felt like they were going to come out and play Miami well. Now, I will admit, I felt like up until the last moment that Miami was going to play a better game. And then Friday night, I did a show, and I changed my score from a 38-24 win to like a 45-24 win. Clemson ended up matching something along that lines. But I will tell you this, Slim Shady, I know that Miami had some of the dumb penalties that they had. It was dumb.
Oh, yeah.
But I was actually walked away going, Miami was a little more disciplined than what I expected. I know they talked trash. I know they had some hits that people questioned this, that, and the other. But Miami, compared to old Miami, was more disciplined. So for Manny Diaz, it takes a while to turn a big ship around. He seems to be turning that thing. And if he can turn it, you guys can be more competitive.
I completely agree with you. And I mean, compared to teams of old, yes, they were definitely more disciplined. I think number one, there's a bigger talent gap between Miami and Clemson than even I thought. And number two, you alluded to it earlier, Brent Venables just went in there with the game plan. We're going to take away the run. We're going to take away your passes over the middle, and you're going to have to beat us over the top. And between De'Aaron King underthrowing people and receivers not fighting for contested catches, you get the result you got.
That was one of the things that surprised me most leading up to the game, because I gave Miami too much credit. My final score prediction was 45-31, I think. So that was a 14-point difference. But the biggest narrative that surprised me, and it wasn't the fact that Miami couldn't go in there and pull an upset. I mean, that can happen any week in college football. But the people I kept hearing saying there's not a difference in talent between Miami's roster and Clemson's roster. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Me too.
How do we measure? And it's not. It doesn't always come down to stars by your name in recruiting, but that does. Listen, I mean, there's a reason they have stars ratings, because they do matter.
Now, good coaching can overcome that.
Clemson has more 5 stars on their defense than Miami's got on their whole team. I mean, it just is what it is. Clemson's got the best quarterback in the country, probably the best player in the country, leading the team. I believe they got the best running back in the country, and again, they got the best defensive coordinator in the country, and they got a crap ton of talent on both sides of the football. So I never understood the talent thing. Clemson's way deeper than Miami is.
Absolutely. And, you alluded to the targeting penalties earlier. I've never been a fan of them, or should I say I've never been a fan of ejecting players for it. But I sure hope you weren't taking a drink when Trevor Lawrence went down. I'm sure you might have choked on it.
I did stand up as the stadium.
I mean, as soon as it happened, I saw it. I knew he had just got the wind knocked out of him.
Well, the wind got knocked out of the stadium, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
It got quiet real quick when he went down. I was thinking concussion is what I thought it was, because I didn't see him moving, but there were so many people around him I couldn't really tell.
Well, watching on TV, they showed the replay immediately, and I was like, okay, he put his helmet into his gut. He got the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah. Well, I was sitting 900 miles away.
Hey, Pete had a mountain goat lead him to his seats. Take him up there, him and a nice Eskimo. I will throw this out there. Now, I want everybody who's a Clemson fan to stop on that moment right there. And Slim Shady Canes, I want you to bear with me here. A couple of weeks ago, I gave a very, very critical, how do I say this? I said, I just downright criticized our offensive coordinator, who I love and I appreciate. And I love our coordinator. I love our staff. But I said, when we played Citadel and we ran the ball with Trevor Lawrence into the end zone, and 2 guys hit him and 1 bent him all the way back, I said, if this guy gets hurt playing against Citadel, there's no apologies. There's no, this is how we run our game plan, and we're always running our game. You will never explain that away. That reaction right there when Trevor got hit by Miami in a game that actually matters shows you how ridiculous it is that if we're playing Georgia Tech this week, don't pull the ball with Trevor. We have the talent to run them into the flipping ground. There is no reason to do it.
At that point, they didn't take their foot off the gas, though. John Serrain says something I completely disagree with. 5 stars are overrated. Isaiah Simmons was a 3-star, for God's sake. I can't trust. I trust coaches to evaluate more than writers on websites. Well, look, man. Isaiah Simmons is a 3-star, being as great as he was, is the exception, not the rule. And if 5 stars are overrated, then why does Clemson recruit so many of them? Look, give me a team full of 3 stars and a team full of 5 stars, and tell me which one has a better chance of winning.
I get what he's saying to a point, because I can list probably half a dozen off the top of my head, all-time greats that have played at Miami that received almost no scholarship offers.
Sure. I mean, there's a bunch of – I'm not saying it doesn't happen. What I'm saying is if stars don't matter, then why is everybody in the why is Ohio State and Clemson and Alabama and all the teams that are winning national championships, why are they loaded with more 5 stars than anybody else? If it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, like I said, I only agree with it to a point. There are definitely more 3-star busts than there are 5-star busts.
Yeah, and once again, I get exactly. I get what he's saying, but the majority of the time, if you play the law of numbers, if you're a 4 or 5-star player, you're going to outplay a 3-star player. You're going to outplay a 2-star player. You know, at Clemson, we love to talk about Hunter Renfrow. We love to talk about what he did. That's one walk-on player, guys. That's one walk-on player. That he's a once-in-a-lifetime player. We're not going to go out to the local high schools and find a bunch of walk-ons and go beat Bama, Ohio State, blah, 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 blah. It's not going to happen.
Well, and that's where I do come. That's where I do come with the comment that sometimes coaching can overcome, because when Clemson beat Alabama the first time, Alabama was a much more talented team, no doubt. Just going by recruiting rankings.
And I get that. I mean, I do get that. I guess the equilibrium here is that the majority of the time, if you do have the 5-star talent, you can win the game. But Clemson has – this is what I come back with everybody. And a lot of people, they love to come at me with this. They love to come with their rebuttals, blah, 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 blah. Coaching matters, guys.
Yeah,
coaching flipping matters.
Both matter.
Yeah.
They do. They do.
You can have
because you hear it out of Miami fans too, you know, because there are probably still plenty of coaches out there regretting they never took a Ray Lewis or a Santana Moss.
I mean, Clemson develops a talent just as good as anybody in the country. I mean, I think everybody knows that by now. A lot of that has to do with just how good the coaches are, how good the program is at this point. I mean, it wasn't always that way, and the continuity, which helps in recruiting as well. When you're confident that your assistant coaches and your head coach are going to be there for the tenure of your time at that school, you're more likely to sign with that school than you are if there's somebody's on the hot seat, and so on and so forth. So, Carolina jackpot. The only fans who say stars don't matter pull for teams that are loaded with 3. There you go. I agree.
I mean, I'm just saying, you a good coach is on the lookout for those diamonds in the rough.
So, what do you think about this game this weekend? I mean, I think we beat this Clemson to Miami game dead horse at this point. What are you thinking about Pitt? Are you worried at all?
I'm worried how this team's going to respond after a loss like that. Now, granted, I think there is more veteran leadership on the team than there was in years past. And then, I mean, you look at the way guys like Bubba Bolden played in that game. Bubba Bolden played hard. He was the one that his nose was bleeding, by the way.
I'm sorry, I said Phillips. Forgive me for that.
Yeah, no, it's fine. You know, seeing the way those guys played hard for 60 minutes is the reason I sent Pete that message Monday that I look forward to seeing Clemson again in the ACC championship game. And I mean, that rings home a point Lou likes to make, you know, very true. If Miami does what they should do and run through the rest of the schedule, that game very well may not matter. And it's hard to beat the same team twice in 1 year.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd be a little bit about Pitt, especially coming off the emotional loss at Clemson. I think Miami's going to win the game.
If they can pull out this Pitt game, I feel good about them running through the majority of their schedule. And for all the talent that's even on North Carolina, I think their defense showed that that defense going to give North Carolina hell, and then some.
Hey, Razorback fan number 1, he said a lot of stupid things tonight, but this one takes the cake. He's never heard of Clemson, South Carolina until 2016, which he just exposed himself as a fraud who doesn't watch football.
So Slim Shady
national championship in 2015.
Hey, so, Slim Shady,
he's been watching football since 2016. He just let us know.
Slim Shady Canes, while you were talking, if you saw me laughing, it was not at you. It was that comment Sir, I was laughing.
Warning. Fan police en route.
No, I'll tell you this with Miami. If okay, so Pitt has lost a game by a few points over the past few weeks in Pitt fashion. Pete, you said this a couple of weeks ago when we did our last show. You said Pitt is always going to play within a few points of you. They're going to lose a game by a few points. They're going to win a game by a few points, and you're 100% right. The problem is, which Pitt team will you play this week, Miami? And Absolutely. For me, when I look at Miami, and this is talking as a football fan, as someone who, if I were trying to build a team, I would be addressing right now. Okay, so you went into Clemson, you had game day, you had Alex Rodriguez guessing the game, which, by the way, Alex Rodriguez is in Miami for everybody. I do agree with everybody on the internet who was going, you could have picked so many people from Clemson to appear for a Clemson home. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, but I'm just saying, if I am trying to rebuild this team, I'm looking at Miami going, it didn't go the way that you thought it was going to go, but your team is not a piss bucket. You still have a lot of talent. You have a lot of aspirations. Now you need to focus on Pitt, because remember the year that we won the national championship with Deshaun Watson, Pitt came in and it wasn't like they beat us 13-12. They scored like 40, 45 points on us.
Well, they did it to Miami in 2017. So they had
exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And that was the last good season Miami did or had. My question is, and I've said this 100 times to Miami fans, how do you guys respond in this game? Does your emotions, is it war on your sleeve? So for me, I'm watching this Miami game and with Pittsburgh, I'm watching it closely because if y'all come out and y'all beat them and you boys knock them out, I go, okay, maybe there's some growth in Manny Diaz's coaching staff and with his players and going, hey, guys, we lost the big game last week, but you know what? We have more games to play.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for as well.
Oh, Dennis Wilson.
Because that's kind of been their MO really and truly since 2010, 2009. You know, they lose.
Thank you. Vandy Dandy, thank you, sir. He says Vanderbilt 3, Clemson 1 all time. Live with it. You know what? I'll give you that. Well done. Well played, sir.
I mean, I can take solace in the fact that Clemson just tied the all-time series with Miami with that win.
That's true. That is true.
I gotta find a silver lining somewhere.
Unfortunately, for 12-year-olds like Razorback fan number one, he wasn't alive the last time that Miami beat Clemson. So, unfortunately for him,
I remember that game.
Yeah, I do. I actually do too. But it's been 3 in a row now, and it's been one offensive touchdown scored in the last 3 meetings. Oof.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to rub it in anymore.
I'm not one of those people that. I mean, I said it on your and Lou's show. You know, I'll predict Miami to win, but my Bet Now account was taking Miami in the points, which I lost on.
Yeah,
but I will. I mean, I said, and I called it way back when they first announced it. I called in and said upsets happen, and that's point blank what it would be an upset.
Well, the 3 games I had circled on Miami's schedule, obviously Clemson, Pitt, and then of course North Carolina at the end of the year. Is there anybody else on that schedule that you could see possibly losing to or coming close to losing to?
I said since the offseason, Virginia Tech in Blacksburg is a hard place to play.
Yeah. They gave North Carolina. I watched almost that entire North Carolina Virginia Tech game. North Carolina came out. I mean, they had guns firing. They looked great. Sam Howell's killing it. Blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, VT started to change some things. Fuente. That's the thing that I look at him with. it would be very hard for Virginia Tech to come in and fire him tomorrow, because he's like, it's like if you were twisting a knob, he's just a couple of clicks to the right, and almost everything's all right with him, if that makes sense. But that will be a big game for y'all. It'll be an emotional game. But as I said earlier, even though some crazy penalties were called and rightfully deserved against Miami, I was actually impressed that Miami was more calm than what I expected.
Yeah. Well, and something else about that Virginia Tech North Carolina game. Let's not have such short-term memory loss. And I know Luke Walker's jumping all over it in the comments section, but let's not have such a short-term memory loss to forget that a terrible Boston College team gave them all they wanted.
I mean, Boston College is 3-1.
I understand that.
I'm not saying they're great, but terrible teams don't start the season 3-1. And by the way, Phil Jerkovich is having a great season so far. He's better than I thought he would be.
With respect to that, Slim Shady Kane, if you go and you look at his numbers, and it's not only his numbers, okay, because you and I we're pessimists, I think, alike. I love being a pessimist to a point, but Jerkovich numbers look really good. And the way he throws the ball, the way he's reading the field, the way he is, man, just the way he is just good. Commanding. It's Boston flipping college, guys.
And how impressive is that new head coach, the former defensive coordinator from Ohio State? Are they going to miss him or what at Ohio State? Any Ohio State fans in here? Who's the new defensive coordinator at Ohio State? I'm sure they got a great one. They always do, but we saw how losing your defensive coordinator worked out for LSU. Didn't work out too well. David Randall hauled ass over to Baylor, and they can't stop a nosebleed. So.
Well, and see, that's the other thing that is the reason I'm actually optimistic about them going forward. Because the rest of the ACC doesn't have Brent Venables or Clemson's talent. So even if another team tries to go in there and repeat what Brent Venables did, I don't see another team in the ACC that's got anywhere near the talent to do it or anywhere near the coordinator to do it. They could attempt it,
yeah,
but I don't see it.
Real quick, Greg Schiano is the DC at Ohio State. John Sarian, God forgive me if I mispronounce your name. Jerkovic is twice as good as Ian Book. Why Kelly let him go, I can't understand. I will tell you this: Ian Book answered
Rutgers.
No,
I was thinking the same thing. I thought he was on his second stint at Rutgers.
I think he is.
Pretty sure he's the OC. Is he? I'm pretty sure he is.
He's the head
I thought he got rehired at Rutgers again.
He's the head coach.
Are you sure?
Pretty sure.
I could have swore I read that somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So
my wife was sitting downstairs drinking hot tea, going out of nowhere, going, "Yeah, I agree." Hey, seriously,
Greg's at Rutgers. Jerkovich is twice as good as Ian Book, says John Sarain. Why Kelly let him go? I can't. Well, I don't know if he let him go. I think he left on his own. But I mean, I do think that he looks good, though. Why? I guess what you're saying there is, why was he sitting behind Book? That's a decent point. I don't know. I think Book's good too. I guess they're probably pretty even, in my opinion.
I haven't been high on Ian Book since his freshman year, when I think 3 passes into that Miami game, he threw a pick 6.
George wants to know who the hell names their kid Dabo. Well, nobody that I know of, including Dabo's parents, because that's not his name. But okay.
What kind of Florida fan lives in Oregon?
Love you, George, but that was funny.
That is correct, sir.
He's just up in Oregon so he can smoke as much pot as he can get his hands on.
I will say this, and it was nowhere near as devastating of a loss, But poor old Celine Driver is is 3 times as downtrodden as I am. And it can't be just because I'm sitting on a beach.
He's full. He jumped right off the ship.
Yeah, he did.
He went from, we're the best team in the East to we're going to lose 4 games or something like that. He needs some time to decompress. He's an emotional guy. Thank you, Wilkie 451. He says blank screen better than Slim Shady.
I hate to laugh.
I don't know. I'd like to see Slim Shady sitting there with his feet up on the porch, smoking a cigar, drinking a whiskey.
Yeah, he's probably looks a lot happier than I am right now. There he is.
Hey, look, check him out.
There he is.
He wasn't lying.
Sitting out on the patio.
There you go.
Got a view of the pool.
Yeah, look at that.
Dadgummit. Yeah. Good to see you, man.
E. Craven liked the video. Yes, that's great advice. Thank you, sir. Everyone make sure you like the video.
That's just for Wilkie, by the way.
So we got about 10 minutes left here. I wanted to go over a little bit. Slim, you can hang around if you want. I want to talk a little bit about Georgia Tech, and there's not much to talk about football-wise. That's who Clemson's playing this weekend, in case you were wondering. I do want to talk about some other things I learned today. First of all, I have been killed by other Clemson fans in the past 3 years on YouTube because I know it's a rivalry historically. I know they played every year for the past 120 years or whatever the hell it is since they, invented the sport. I get all that. I just don't care about playing Georgia Tech every year. I think it's going to get more interesting now. Now that they're not a triple option team anymore and they're going to play, modern football. And I think Jeff Collins is a good coach. The whole 9 yards, I think that the games will get better. But the history between these two, where is it? Okay. 1903, John Heisman. Now, ironically, Georgia Tech doesn't have any Heisman winners in their history. Clemson doesn't have any Heisman winners in their history. But John Heisman coached at both schools. First at Clemson, then at Georgia Tech. So in 1903, John Heisman and Clemson go into Atlanta, beat Georgia Tech 73-0. The very next season, John Heisman leaves Clemson to go take the job at Georgia Tech for a $50 raise.
I mean, man, if somebody offers you two $20 bills and a 10 on top of it, you got to go.
Yeah. There's a lot of history between the two. And I'm seeing the $2 bills. I know all that. My brother went there as an engineering major. Went to Clemson as an engineering major. And so there's a big, I call it the nerd rivalry. Has more to do with engineering than it does with football. Now, Georgia Tech is clearly one of the top engineering schools in the country. So I'm not saying Clemson's a better engineering school, but Clemson is a good one. But it's like when you go to a Georgia Tech and Clemson game and you go in the student section, it's a bunch of engineers yelling at each other, about who's a better engineering school or whatever. But also Bobby Dodd, the famous Bobby Dodd, who they named that trash dump of a stadium after. This is another reason that Clemson can't stand Georgia Tech in history. Bobby Dodd, for those of you who don't know, refused to play Clemson in Clemson. He would only play them in Atlanta.
Oh, my God.
For many years, the game was only in Atlanta. And so, Bobby Dodd, he was kind of an asshole, apparently. And he obviously didn't want to travel to Clemson.
We're really good, but you're only going to play us at our house.
Sounds like a Florida coach to me.
Oh, my God. I mean, my God, we go up there. Everybody hears about the varsity. The varsity. You got to go to the varsity if you're in Atlanta. Every time you go to the varsity, you end up with the dysentery. I mean, my God, your doo-doo went all over the place. You're sick. It's not that great. I mean, my God. I say what?
You got a couple of Georgia Tech fans that stop in on the channel every now and then, and they're actually pretty good sports. But
yeah,
I mean, I did a couple of videos a couple of years ago. You might remember them, Bobby, where I just went in hard on Paul Johnson. This is before Paul Johnson retired or whatever.
Yes.
And man, I didn't even know there was that many Georgia Tech fans, let alone the amount that came into my comment section. So they defended this guy to the hill. The triple option. They thought it was the best thing since sliced bread, right? As soon as he leaves or gets fired or whatever, and they hire Jeff Collins, the same exact people were coming in there talking about how great they were going to be. Now that Paul Johnson was gone, they weren't doing the triple option anymore.
I know what's funny about a Georgia Tech fan is when they argue, they don't argue like the rest of us football fans. They come in and they put up some type of really difficult math equation and go, solve this and tell me who's who. What a douche.
Yeah, well, all I got to say about Georgia Tech is the 285 loop around Atlanta. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
When does
You've ever
Miami
been stuck in that?
When does Miami play Georgia Tech?
It's a good question.
You guys have lost to them twice in a row, haven't you?
Duke too.
Yeah.
But I think we skipped Duke this year, so there's a positive.
Yeah. Michael Sachs Jr. says he wanted to say hi and he loves the channel. Thank you, Michael. You're amazing and fantastic, sir. You already know that, though.
You know, speaking of which, some random Clemson fan in Uncle Lou's comment section wanted me to do a tattoo bet with him that I'd get the Clemson paw.
Oh,
no.
Look, man, don't. You're smart. You're too smart for that.
I mean, I have a bunch of tattoos, and a Miami tattoo is on the way, but I'm not getting one for an opposing team.
No, well, that's a ridiculous thing to do. That's like those people that have those fantasy football leagues and they get these weird tattoos if they're the last place. And no, I'm not doing anything crazy like that. Yeah, I mean, what Coach Coop did was bad enough. Did you see that?
Yes. Oh, my God. Though the leg kicks I will hand him were quite legit.
Now,
with the underwear and stuff. Very good job. He didn't show his junk and stuff, but it was very close.
I want to give some credit to Coach Coop here. First of all, I really like him. He's entertaining. He seems like a really nice guy. But man, what was he thinking doing that? I mean, not doing that, but even making the bet in the first place. That is a man of. First of all, he's a man of his word.
No.
I would delete my YouTube channel before I ever did that.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even do it in a Clemson cheerleader outfit, let alone a Miami one.
Yeah. He had the wig and everything.
He had the orange lipstick going.
I think he had although I do want to tell him, I do believe he had a little girl's cheerleading outfit on, which made it even more interesting.
Yeah, it was. He did say it was kid size. Which is terrible.
He can't drive past the middle school anymore. He has to notify them. Yeah.
Oh, no. Anyway, any final thoughts? Shout out to Coach Coop, by the way. He's good people. Any final thoughts on this Georgia Tech Clemson matchup?
Get out of the game healthy. Offensive line, become better, guys. Become better. Become one as a unit. Safeties, do the same thing. Linebackers. For everybody out there who's put down on our linebackers, I tweeted this out. I know, Pete, you saw this. I was told by several people last week that when Brent Venable's son Jake was in, it was the bottom of the barrel. And there's a great clip of our bottom of the barrel knocking the living dookie out of your top shelf. And what does that say about you? So the point is no offense, Slim Shady Canes, our linebacker core, if you think they're crappy, please, for the love of God, continue to believe that they're horrible, because we will play you and we will prove otherwise. But we do need to grow in the safeties in our safety play, out of position here and there. You can't do that against great teams if we really want to win a national championship. Offensive line, as I said, pull it together. Frank Ladson, very happy to see you start showing up. You are an incredible player. You cannot drop that one pass that literally Trevor Lawrence laid in your hands. You can't do that in the big game. Continue to grow. Clemson wins this game easily by 28. Just get in and out of the game, grow, and stay safe.
Darth Rebel brings up a great point here. Clemson causes a lot of turnovers, and Georgia Tech, turns the ball over a lot. Over under 5 turnover. Well, that seems like a lot even for them. Over under 4 turnovers.
Wow.
Georgia Tech.
Well, I'll say this too, that blocked field goal that got returned for a touchdown right before halftime. I think Dabo needs to take that as a lesson. Don't be so greedy.
Well, he said that. He said it was the worst coaching mistake he's ever made. I mean, a play calling, a coaching mistake, not the worst coaching mistake. He said it was the worst play call he ever made, and I agree. I don't know what he's trying to do there. Now, BT Potter can kick a 60-yard field goal. He doesn't practice every day. He's got a huge leg. But what's the point? Take a knee.
Well, what was the point in trying to rush downfield with under a minute? Just take it in the half. You have a comfortable lead.
It was a stupid decision.
And to me, that was a little bit of karma.
And I'll tell you one thing: it worked against Miami because it was just a mismatch for the entire game. But if you do something like that against somebody in the playoffs, that could be the difference in the game. So that hopefully,
that could be a lesson not to do that. Like you say, in the playoffs or a championship game. Yeah,
it might have been a blessing in disguise.
Now we'll throw this out there. I've done some coaching myself. When you respect a team, you look at them and you say you don't take the foot off the throttle. If you truly respect a team and their ability to come back, you absolutely put them out of their misery early because you respect them. They do have the ability to come back. I don't blame him. I know that he said that he made a bad call. I don't think he made a bad call. How many block field goals have we seen at Clemson? I'll be devil's advocate, even against Dabo, against himself. The guy, he knows he has the kicker who has the leg to make the kick. It would have been a great kick. He would have got 3 points out of it. It would have been a great move by him. Who knew they would have blocked the ball and ran it back? On the other side, it's a great way for us to see we need to fix something in our kicking game, period. Thank you, Miami. You helped us.
Oh, yeah, especially with 3 block kicks in that game. Y'all definitely need to work on your blocking.
You tag them straight.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm running out of time here. Thank you, Slim Shady, for coming in and talking some Miami football with us. So you're always welcome here, sir. You're definitely one of my favorites on the channel. You always contribute a lot. And I'm looking forward to taking a bottle of Jack Daniels from you after North Carolina comes down to Coral Gables and beats Miami.
I still think that bet's pretty safe, sir.
All right, good. We'll see. Hey, enjoy your vacation, and I'll see you soon, man.
You too.
Yes, sir. Y'all be good.
All right.
See you, buddy.
All right, Bobby. Where can they find you other than here?
Bobby Jerkins. If you open up that beautiful thing called YouTube.com, you type in Bobby Jerkins. It's DIRKENS. You'll find me over there hooping and hollering and screaming. Ed Orgeron shows up every now and again. Will Muschamp shows up every now and again. Say what?
It's on the screen. How you spell your name? It's on the screen.
Just spell it like that. Will Muschamp shows up on the channel. You never know. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter as well. And you can find me on Instagram. So.
All right. Well, I'll be doing a preview. It might be the shortest preview video ever tomorrow for Georgia Tech and Clemson. Might be about 5 seconds long. And then, of course, tomorrow night at 10 p.m., I'll be doing my live call-in show. Looking forward to hearing from some Alabama fans, maybe some Georgia fans, some anybody who's playing this week. Looking forward to it. All right, Bobby. Thanks to everybody who stopped in. Thank you, everybody who supported the channel. And me and Bobby will see you guys again next week. Same time, same bat channel. Pigskin Pete and Bobby Durkins are checking out.